I have something over here. Do you know what it is? Of course you know what it is. You clicked on this video. This is the DJI Air 3. As of recording this, it just released a couple days ago, and now I have it. They didn't send this to me. I bought this. So I want to talk about why I bought it, what I'm going to use it for, and also unbox it because it's still in here. I haven't opened it yet. Now, because DJI didn't send this to me, everyone else has released their videos on the release date of this product. You know, everyone made their videos. They had time to get the drone, you know, a couple weeks to go adventure, learn more about it, get some cool shots, and then make their video about it so it was ready for the release date. Now, I've already missed that boat. The drone is out. I missed that first day release thing because, you know, I ordered it after that. If you want to watch a deep dive on the specs and selling features of the drone, there are lots of other awesome creators that have already done videos like that. But today I want to specifically talk about why I bought this drone and also kind of cover the differences between an entry-level drone and something a little more in the mid-range. So if you're in the position right now where you're considering buying a drone and you're debating on whether or not you should go with the Mini because it's under 250 grams, you know, it fits in your bag, you don't need a license, then maybe this video can help you out a little bit. So let's open this up. Let's get some initial impressions, show you what's in the box. This is the Fly More combo, so let's take a look. I actually have a very good reason for buying this drone. I've had my Mini 2 since 2021? Yeah, 2021, because I took it to Ireland. And before that point, I'd always wanted a drone, but it just never made sense for me not getting paid for drone jobs. You know, even the Mini 2 at the time without the Fly More combo, I spent like, you know, $700 Canadian, I think, on it. So even that is like a decent lens or like a couple nice lights or I don't know, maybe some audio equipment. There's always something I could spend my money on better. So I didn't get the drone. And then I did, and I had a lot of fun with it, but I never actually got paid for any drone work until this summer. I have a client that wants repeat work of drone coverage of different areas, and I did some stuff for them with the Mini 2, and you can do professional work with the Mini 2. It's not bad, but getting paid to do drone work made it so that upgrading to something a little more professional level was a much more viable option because I didn't want to spend, this was $2,200 for the Fly More combo, that's Canadian dollars, $2,200, I didn't want to spend that on something that wasn't going to make me any money. So that's kind of our first big difference here. You can make money with these small drones, but this is more of a, I want something to try out and I want something for fun kind of drone. And this is more like, I want to start getting serious about making money with my drone. You know what? My shirt is covered in cat hair. I gotta change this. That's a little better. Okay, so first of all, this bag, it's a pretty big bag actually. I was expecting it to be just a little bit smaller. This drone is obviously bigger. Okay, so what do we got here? First of all, this is a very high quality bag. I kind of like it. Something else, if you're a follower of this channel for a while, you'll know this setting has been my studio slash office slash bedroom for several years. That's gonna be changing soon. I'm not gonna give away too much spoilers, but just, we're gonna have a little change up around here. Okay, so there's two compartments in here. Here's the drone. Look at that, that's very cool. It's pretty much the same format as all the other Airs and Mini drones where the, you know, the arms fold out the same kind of way. It's a very similar design, just obviously a bit bigger. Still not massive though. Like this is still fairly small. It's not fit in a hoodie pocket small, but it's still like, I can't imagine myself having too much problems carrying this around with me. Now, some of the benefits of a bigger drone over something like this is wind resistance and speed. These things can fly a lot faster, but also counter wind a lot better. So if you do have to fly on a bit of a windy day, this is going to be able to hold up a little bit better and not get blown around compared to the Mini 2, which struggles sometimes. One thing that I didn't like about the Air 2S, my friend Anthony, he got the Air 2S, and when we went to Vegas together, one thing that I liked about my Mini 2 that his drone couldn't do is my drone, the battery can be charged via the USB-C port on the back. Whereas the Air 2, the previous version of this, you couldn't do that. You had to take the battery out and put it in the charger, which meant when we were on the road, I plugged my drone into a power bank in my backpack and it just charged while I wasn't using it, whereas his batteries were getting drained and then he couldn't use them anymore. So I do have the charger for this, but something that they've implemented from the Mini series onto this drone is now down at the bottom here. There's a tiny little USB-C port right next to the micro SD card slot. So you can actually charge the battery with just the drone and a USB-C cable if you'd like. Another nice thing about this drone is you have the 360 sensors, which means when you're flying side to side and you can't see where necessarily the drone is heading, you're not going to fly into something. Another clear distinction that you get with a drone like this is we now have two camera lenses on here. We have the wide 24mm and the 70mm. Now the 24mm is an f1.7 and the 70mm is an f2.8. This isn't the biggest deal for me. I think getting some cool zoomed in parallax shots is going to be kind of cool, but other than that, I still think most of the time I would be finding myself shooting with the 24mm anyways. That being said, it's still nice to have. Now this doesn't do the vertical video. If you really like the idea of posting reels and TikToks and stuff, and you want the camera that turns 90 degrees, you're not gonna get that out of this. You will get that out of the Mini 3 Pro. So if that's really important to you, then this is not the drone for you. It does have a vertical mode where it's kind of like open gate and allows you to use the full vertical width of the sensor to get a sort of crop in, but it's 2.7K resolution. Whereas if you use something like the Mini 3, it rotates the whole camera, so you're still using the entire sensor. A big game changer for me, and one of the reasons that I wanted this over my Mini is, well, the image quality, but specifically this allows me to shoot in D-Log, and this does not. Now, if you don't know, D-Log is a log profile for DJI drones. It's like how on Canon I shoot in C-Log, and C-Log looks like this straight out of the camera. It's a 10-bit video file that's very flat, but it allows you to pull a lot more color and have a lot more flexibility in your footage. And that's really important for color correcting and color grading after the fact. And it's also important for trying to match shots with each other. For example, in a wedding video, I have to match this camera with this, and it'll be much easier to do that when I have that flexibility. Okay, let's take a look at what's in the rest of the bag. What did my $2,200 get me? Got a pack of, looks like, extra propellers. Okay, now I did opt for the nicer controller, the one with the screen built in. So let's talk about the next biggest difference when comparing my old Mini 2 to the new Air 3. Now for the base package of the Air 3, you can still get a controller of this style where you slot your phone in and that acts as the screen, but you can also opt for this. And now this is something that if you're getting the Mini 3 Pro now, you can also get this style of controller. This one is a little bit newer, but let's compare, shall we? Now the biggest noticeable one is this screen on here. It does make the controller a little bigger, so when you're talking about trying to pack this away, I don't have a lot of faith that this drone and controller combo would fit in my camera bag, my backpack very nicely. I think maybe if I cleared out a big space, it would probably fit, but more likely than not, I'm gonna bring this little side bag with me if I need the Air 3. Now I am gonna keep my Mini 2 specifically for the adventures where I want to pack up my bag, have everything in one bag, and you know, especially if it's just like social media content or something and that's all I'm capturing, I would still be fine to shoot on the Mini 2. Because I have the drone, the controller, one extra battery for a total of 40-ish minutes of recording time between the two of them. And you know, I just fold them up like this and they just slot into one of the little slots in my camera bag. So it's a pretty small footprint, pretty easy to just carry around with me. This is definitely a little more involved. But what are some of the other changes? Well, we've got these physical antennas on here, which look like this. Now, some people might not like these. I don't have a problem with them, especially if they're going to help increase the range. Now, looking at the top here, we have extra buttons. So this has a few extra buttons. We have a photo and video button, dedicated photo and video buttons. On this controller, we just have the one button that does both, so you have to switch the modes on your phone from photo to video, and then that button will be the trigger for whichever mode you're in. The joystick controls here look a little higher quality. They look like more of something you get on an FPV drone rather than these ones here. I don't know if this makes too much of a practical difference, but these do look like they're higher quality controls. Now on the center of the controller here, we get our power button, our return to home button, and our mode switches. That's the same. But we also get an extra, in addition to the extra recording buttons here, we get two dials up here as opposed to just the one on here. Now, I'm not actually sure what the extra dial is for, but I'm assuming it's customizable. I don't know what exactly I would set this to, but it's nice that it's there. And then you also have two buttons on the back here, which C1 and C2, you can set to anything you want. That is kind of replacing the two buttons on here. We have our one button here is the function button, and then we have the camera rotate button. For all intents and purposes, those buttons are now these ones. I think I'm gonna enjoy this a lot. Okay, and the last main thing in here is the extra batteries with the charger. Now this is something that I could have opted for something similar with my Mini 2, and I didn't because I didn't get the fly more combo. So the only way for me to charge my Mini 2 was to plug the drone into the USB-C port. I didn't have any other options. I could have if I wanted to, but I didn't pay for it. So that meant if I wanted to charge my drone, I couldn't use my drone. This, on the other hand, we get this nice little charging dock. We can slot in 3 batteries. It comes with 3, the other ones in the drone. But this has a cool feature that none of the previous charging stations have had. Let's say you've got all 3 batteries in here, right? And battery 1 and 2, they've got like 10, 20% left. And battery 3's got like, I don't know, let's say 70. It's a little more charged up. Now, you want to fly your drone, but you ideally don't want to be taking up something with like 10 or 20% in it because you're going to fly it up, fly for 5 minutes, and then you're going to have to land again. So when these batteries have 20% in them, they're pretty much useless because you can take them up if you need to, but you're not really gonna get much out of them. So what you can do instead is there's this mode that allows you to drain the remaining charge in the lower charge batteries and put it all into one battery so that you get all the remaining capacity you have left into that one battery. So that saves you the return flight time and having to swap out your batteries. You can put it all into the one battery and try and get almost a full charged battery, which I think is pretty cool. This can also act as a power bank. It's got a little USB-C port on there. So if you wanted to like charge your phone off of these batteries, you can technically do that as well. But that is the whole kit. I will definitely be making some comparison videos with this. I just got this drone, so I haven't had any time to take it out. I wanted to get something out here showing this off to you now and talking about my impressions of it. So examples of this footage are going to have to come in a later video. Okay, so to summarize, we've got these 2 drones here, right? We've got the Mini 2, which I know there's a Mini 3 now, but if you want to get into the droning, this is probably still your entry level. And then we have something not the highest end, but kind of mid-tier, a little more professional. So who would I recommend go buy the Mini 2? I think if you have no intention of doing anything for paid work right now and you just want to get into the drone market, the Mini 2 is still a good option. You can still get some pretty nice photos and some pretty nice 4K video out of it. The Mini 3 is definitely a step up in terms of quality and features, but it's also a step up in price. So if you're not willing to spend that like $1,000, give or take, on the Mini 3, then the Mini 2 is still a decent option. Especially, again, to reiterate, if this is just for fun and you're not making any money and you've never flown a drone before, you probably don't want a large initial investment because, for one, there's a pretty good chance you're going to crash this drone at some point, especially if you're new at it. And 2, as a business expense, it doesn't make a lot of sense to buy if you're not going to see a return on your investment. So that brings me to the Air 3. The only reason I bought this drone is because now I'm seeing a return on my investment. Now I'm actually making money from work that I'll be capturing with this. And so it makes sense to me to offer that work in a higher, more professional tier. Now, if you got the Mini 2 or Mini 3 Pro, you can absolutely make money using that drone, but I want to offer a bit of a competitive quality here. I don't necessarily want to be shooting at the entry level. Now, the only thing I still need to buy for the Air 3 here is some ND filters. ND filters will make a world of difference no matter what drone you're using because it will allow you to shoot at a proper shutter speed for your frame rate rather than cranking it to like 1/4000th of a second, especially for video. You're gonna get some really choppy looking footage if you're moving quickly and shooting at a high shutter speed. So some NDs, definitely worth the investment. But stay tuned, I'm planning on using this for a bunch of professional gigs coming up, so stay tuned for the footage that comes out of this. I'm really excited to try this out, and I think it's gonna be great. So if you like this video and you wanna see more stuff like this, hit that subscribe button, for what platform we were on for a second. Hit the subscribe button, like the video if you like this, and yeah, I will post some more stuff probably in the next little bit. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one.